Blog Talk Radio.
Yep. Thank you very much. You listen to Baltimore's Talking Live. I'm your host, Dr. Q. Co-host is Green Bean Aaron Green. Say hello, Green.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good night to all. My name is Mickey Money. Let's get things started.
We had a great, fantastic weekend. Friday show is still giving me questions and comments about it. I'll try to get around to them sometime this week. There's a guest confirmation pending for sometime this week, so what you see on the schedule this week, it may be subject to change. I think it's Bjorn Comero, and we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, of course, everybody's complaining about Biden, and I'm pretty much over it. You know, I don't care who the next president will be. I don't care about the next election. I don't care about too much of anything, because now it has been, even though it's only been 3 presidents in a row, it's been a period of 16 years, basically, of nonsense. Start off with Bush. It's actually been 20 years for those that have been keeping count. 20 years to the date. 20 years ago was 2001. The 9/11 crap. Ever since the 9/11 crap, where the government was able to falsify an attack from some imaginary terrorists, which never happened, and you have 5 senators who are saying it never happened. Now, let me specify. The destruction happened. The way of the destruction did not happen. And I like I said, I put a challenge to anybody out there in America, worldwide, national, anybody living in New York area, anybody in the Chesapeake area, anybody in California, CIA, FBI, AFI, SCO, challenge anybody to tell me it did happen. And give me your documented proof. Don't tell me what the news media says. Because nothing exists without a shadow. And I've seen every video of the plane going into the building with no shadow on it. I've even seen videos where the plane was the size of my thumb and the shadow was the size of my whole arm. No way. That's that CGI bullshit. So it didn't happen. And I understand people want to get upset. Oh, it did happen. People lost their lives. We're doing the same thing again with this radiation poisoning. And we're all saying it's corona, it's a virus, because the bat bit the pig. Bullshit. That didn't happen. First of all, a pig is a cold-blooded animal, and the bat is not going to see it. So how did the bat possibly bite the pig if it's invisible to the eyesight of a bat? A bat has eyes like a mole. It didn't see any such pig to bite it. And if anybody knows anything about witchcraft or Wicca, pig's blood and bat's blood are used in witchcraft spells for the simple fact of its pungentness. A bat ain't going to eat no pungent blood. A bat ain't going to eat no bat. Pig ain't going to eat no pig. And that's pretty much what the blood of a bat would taste like to a pig. And what the blood of a pig would taste like to a bat itself. It ain't going to do it. It's got a nasty, stinky odor to it. Even though the bat can't see, it's going to smell something that smells like a bat, so it's not going to bite it. And then you know how low to the ground a pig is and to how high in the air a bat flies. Why would a bat fly that low to bite the pig? Stop the nonsense. And then what does the digestive system of an animal have to do with respiratory disease? But we all sit back with, we got this thing called science that you said science is so great, it's better than religion. Okay, religion told me that it was fake news. But your science says it's also impossible. But now you're trying to take imagination and override science and say, oh, yeah, the bat bit, it didn't happen. You got a lot of black people giving me hate mail because I said everything Donald Trump said was true. But you hate the man so bad, you calling me Trump supporters and all this bullshit. I'm a patriot. I support the president based on the office of the president. All military people will support the president. You ain't got to agree with him. You ain't got to like him. But he reached a position that was bestowed upon them to represent the American people in time of war. So as a veteran and a patriot, sure. There's never, ever been a president I 100% was in agreement with or that I cared for. I like Bill Clinton, but I didn't 100% care for him. Bill Clinton put all the blacks behind bars, mass incarceration. Saying why he did it, but it wasn't his job to do it. See, Bill Clinton has always been operating as the governor of Arkansas. He was never operating as the president of the United States. Everything he did was for the benefit of the people of Arkansas. He didn't do anything for America. So when he did the mass incarceration, it was because in Little Rock, every corner, let's say you got 15 neighborhoods like Baltimore City. Let's say you got 15 neighborhoods, and that's the entire size of Little Rock. Out of them 15 neighborhoods, 12 of them are drug infested. Police are outnumbered by the drug activity. You only got 12 cops for the whole city. For those 15 neighborhoods, the highest ranking officer might be a lieutenant because of the budget. Most towns you go to, the chief of police doesn't have 4 stars on their collar like they do in Baltimore. And Howard, in Baltimore County, the chief of police has 2 stars on her collar. If she's still the chief, I don't know. In Montgomery County, chief of police, he only had 3 stars on his collar. So the higher the rank, the more money is into the budget. And based on that pay, I was at Lexington Market, and I asked for the chief of police or chief of security. The highest ranking officer down there was a sergeant. So I already know they didn't want to work there because they didn't have no money. You can't even afford to pay an officer. A sergeant is not an officer. So he can't even make lieutenants pay. And he said that the pay was based on the stock market. When you start talking about the stock market, good luck, something's corrupt with that. And that's why Lexington Market will always be drug city and dirt city, roaches and rats everywhere, because you're not putting enough of an investment in it. you put more money and investment into the downtown partnership than you put into the security that's always been there before the downtown partnership. And most of them downtown partnership people working for free. But have you seen them lately since the corona? Of course not. They wasn't coming out there for free. Go back to Bill. The drugs off those 13 corners, he created mass incarceration. He's doing the job the governor should have been doing. So like I said, I understand why he did it, but it affected the entire country and took all the black fathers away from their families and made room for some of the homosexuality to creep in, but it definitely made room for the drugs to creep in and overtake the families. Single parenthood became the norm, that their fathers was in jail in places that the mothers could not visit, didn't have a car. What if he was the breadwinner and she wasn't working? You tore families apart. So when I hear people say, well, the Mexicans are in cages and you're tearing families apart, I'm not affected by that because did the celebrities have an outcry when the blacks were behind bars? No, but you want to have an outcry because the Mexicans are behind bars. But you tell me that I can't talk about racism because everything is not racist. That sounds racist to me. It is pretty cut and dry. There's no other way to slice it. Celebrities. Did the celebrities know about the mass incarceration? Of course they did. It was federal law. Did they speak out about it? Of course not. They was happy. They could walk the streets on both sides of the street this time. They didn't have to walk. They didn't have to cross over because blacks were standing there. Do we forget that the black lady, can't think of her name right now, Maxine Waters, the congressman who jumped up and down and said, Trump is not my president, and everybody backing her and applauding. Do we forget that she was the same congresswoman who stood up and said that Biggie Smalls and Tupac should be arrested for the lyrics that they sang? Do we forget that Maxine Waters was so much against the rap industry that she said they should all be banned and shut down the radio stations for playing that kind of music? But yet you applaud her for her decision-making skills? What decision-making skills? She has none. She's old, outdated, and all these senators and congressmen needs to be removed. Give me some new congressmen. So I'll just sit back and listen because like a lot of people are young and dumb and stupid, haven't been born that long. I'm probably older than probably everybody who listens to this show, except for maybe Pianki. He may be a little bit older, half a century or something, I don't know. But I was around and I've heard these things. I've seen these things. She's still a congresswoman today. And she's still talking that same rhetoric in favor of the house nigger. Everything she talks about is in favor of the house nigger. Don't you think after all these years, if Congress wanted blacks to have free education, they would never have done away with UNICEF? Don't you think after all these years, if Congress wanted blacks to have free health care, they could have done so by now? Long before Obama became president, they could have done something about health care. Long before Trump, long before Bush, long before Carter, long before Washington, they could have done something about free health care. In fact, they had free health care before Washington was president. But this is what you have to know. The Congress we have today, with the Democrats and Republicans, is the Congress that is corrupt and wicked. It always has been wicked since Washington. Now, if you really want to learn something, go to the library and look up the Magna Carta and look up
the